Hello and welcome back to a brand new DNF1 F1 podcast. I hope that you're all doing well and thanks for joining me as always. It's just Adam here for those of you that are listening on your favourite audio podcasting platform. And first things first, Happy New Year to everyone. I hope that you all had an enjoyable and restful holiday period. I'm hopeful that you all managed to eat as much food as you possibly can, enjoy yourselves, have some great times with your friends and family and your nearest and dearest, of course. And I hope that you're all ready for an exciting 2024 Formula One season. Now, of course, that is only a few months away. There's still some time to wait before the F1 cars are doing the rounds week in, week out. But until then, I thought it'd be best to give you a bit of an update, a little bit of a reflection, if you like, of 2023 and a quick update as to what you should expect from us in 2024. Now, first things first, of course, an update on what's going to be happening with the channel itself. So, upon reflection of what went down in 2023, I'm sure a lot of you that followed us for a long time now will know that we did set quite lofty expectations for 2023. We got past 1,000 subscribers and we were hoping to kick off from that, really put more time and effort into this channel to make it as good as it could be for you guys. Unfortunately, for many reasons outside of our control, we were unable to do that. And I can only apologise if we didn't meet your expectations or if you felt that we weren't really doing our obligatory best, if you like, as podcasters and content creators. So as I said, I can only apologise for that. But I can assure you that we have reflected on this. We have taken this on board, including a lot of your feedback. And we've been very grateful for any feedback that you have given us, whether that's been positive or negative. It's all good. And we are making changes to how we produce content for you guys going ahead in 2024. So I kind of wanted to list a few of those changes so that you're up to date with what we're going to be doing in 2024. And if you do follow us on a specific platform, you may want to consider whether you want to follow us on a different platform and get your content from us from there. So first things first, the YouTube podcast. Now, a lot of podcasts, especially in the F1 demographic, a lot of podcasts are doing video versions of their audio podcast now. Now, we've been doing a video version of the DNF1 podcast for a few years now. I think when we started doing the video version of the DNF1 F1 podcast, I think we were probably one of the only F1 podcasts around, including mainstream ones, that were actually producing video versions. And that obviously allowed us to get a lot of interest from you guys and a lot of people following us through that medium. And that was great. You know, we were growing pretty well for a small independent podcast, and we were starting to find our footing as far as content creators go. Now, of course, for those of you that are involved in making video podcasts, you will know how hard it is to produce content and how much time and effort it takes to edit that content. And it's really hard to meet the deadlines that you set for yourselves, and more importantly, the deadlines you need to meet for your target audience in order to grow. And that's not even including stuff like shorts, which anyone that's followed us will know we don't really produce shorts on this channel for that reason, because it is a lot of time and effort that we just don't have. I mean, myself, Courtney and Lee, we all work full-time jobs. We all do extracurricular stuff outside of our careers. And that's not even including the podcast as well. So our time to produce content for you guys is quite limited. And that has made it hard for us to produce as much content as we would have liked to in 2023, for example. So going forward, what we're going to be doing with this channel, we are still going to produce a video version of this podcast. We're not, however, going to be producing it in the same way that you can see myself, Lee or Courtney or anyone else that comes on the show as a guest. You're not going to be able to see us in the same way that we were before. As I said, we're going to produce a video version of the podcast, but it's going to be a specific video template, which is going to show where you can listen to the show, have some nice images and graphics of some of the drivers, etc. I've seen a few brands do this, and I think they do it ultimately for the same reason. So that's what we're going to be doing with a video podcast. So if you still want to listen to us on YouTube, you still can, but it's going to look a little bit different to how it would be. And ultimately, this is a podcast. You know, as much as we'd like to create video content for you guys, it's not that kind of YouTube channel. It's a podcast first and foremost. So I think it's only fair that we prioritize making podcasts and audio content for you guys over trying to create amazing visuals for the video version of this, when we could be making shorter videos and like some other big F1 YouTubers do. And obviously that requires its own set of skills and has its own limitations. So that's what we're going to be doing with that. We are, however, going to try and incorporate shorts into the YouTube channel. Now, that's going to be clips from podcast recordings that we've done. And obviously, they're going to be related to specific pieces of those episodes for certain context. And that's for you guys to enjoy shorter versions or shorter clips from the show rather than having to listen to the whole thing. If you don't want to do that, that's absolutely fine. I can totally understand if some people don't want to listen to the whole show, but if you want to follow the shorts, that's not a problem at all. So we're going to try and incorporate that into future YouTube content, if you like. But we're going to be focusing primarily on the audio version. Now, for some of you that are listening to this show on your audio podcasting platform, of course, those changes that we've just announced for YouTube, they're not going to make much of a difference to you guys. You're not really going to worry about that. However, this is kind of where it gets important for you guys. And as I said already, I would love for our YouTube followers, if they want to listen to our full content at its absolute best, on the podcasting platforms, wherever you get your podcasts from, it's absolutely free to follow us and absolutely free to listen to our show. So you won't have to worry about subscribing or paying a Patreon, if you like, that some other content creators have done where they produce extra content. All of our content is going to be made free on all of the audio platforms as they have been since day one. So that's not where we're changing things there. What we are going to do, though, is we are going to change the format and how we do our shows. Now, at the moment, we've struggled to produce 2 episodes a week. And I think I've highlighted some of the reasons already as to why that was in previously last season, I suppose. As I said, things happening outside of our control that we couldn't help. But of course, that has made it difficult, but that's not an excuse because we have to earn your patronage. We shouldn't expect to deserve it, even in difficult times. We have to keep producing the content. So what we're going to be doing going forward, we're still going to have the race previews and the race reviews. However, we are going to try and make them shorter. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to get you guys involved. We're going to analyze the races for the reviews as we have done in the past to a certain degree, but we're going to have more focus on answering questions that you guys give to us for the reviews. So we can focus on those talking points and, more importantly, give you guys more of a voice on the show. I think a lot of you have had feedback on some of the stuff we've had to say. Some of you have liked what we've had to say, and some of you haven't liked so much what we've had to say. And that's absolutely fine. No problem with that at all. So we're going to get you guys more involved in this show because we want you guys to feel like you're involved with DNF1. DNF1 is not about me. It's not about me and Courtney or me and Courtney and Lee or anyone else. It's about all of us. We're all F1 fans. The reason why we started this show was because we wanted to share our voice, our passion on what we consider to be the greatest sport in the world. And for those of you that agree with us, then that's fantastic. But we want to get you guys more involved. So that's what we're aiming to do going forward for that. The previews, as I said already, they're probably not going to change too much because we did get them to a point where they were around half an hour, 40 minutes an episode anyway. And I think that's a pretty decent amount of time for an F1 podcast. So the changes are going to be around the review episode. So we're going to get you more involved in that. As I said, make them a little bit shorter because I think sometimes an hour podcast, sometimes a little bit too long for an F1 podcast, but again, it depends on what your preference is going to be. In addition to that, we're going to be having a review of qualifying, or if we have a sprint race on the Saturday, we're going to have a review of that. That's going to be a short 15-20 minute episode at best, where we're going to be going through those sessions in particular, and that frees us up some time where we can take that away from the main review. We don't have to go back and talk about that again in too much detail. So an extra bit of content for you guys on there. And we're also going to be doing a team or driver ratings from the previous race episode. Again, that's going to be another short one where I personally will be doing my own ratings of how the drivers performed over the weekend. So a little bit more solo content from me, if you like, but in total, most race weekends, you're going to be looking at about potentially 3, if not 4 episodes a week. Now, obviously, because they're going to be shorter, that's going to be much easier for me to produce. But I feel that we're putting more content out for you guys. There aren't going to be many weeks, if any, where we're not going to have at least 2 episodes a week for you guys. And that's kind of what has been driving us to make this show better for you. We've listened to what you've had to say. We've taken the feedback on board, and that's how we're going to do it. So I hope overall that isn't too inconvenient for anyone. I hope those changes sound like a good thing to you guys. It's absolutely fine if it's not quite what you were hoping for from us, but we're going to do our best to try and make sure that we produce the absolute best content that we can for you guys, and also produce as much as we possibly can for you, because we love our followers, we love our F1 audience. I know we're not the best, in the past, interacting and engaging with our audience. I hope that these changes sound more positive and sound like it's a step in the right direction for you. But of course, let me know your thoughts. We're still going to be uploading stuff to YouTube. It's just not going to be in the same way that we have done in the past, but we're going to be uploading more on your favorite audio podcasting platform. So if you want to hear all of our content in its absolute fullest and best, head over to your favorite audio podcasting platform. As I said, if you still want to follow us on YouTube, that's absolutely fine, but obviously it's going to be a bit different. We're going to have some more shorts, hopefully. The content on the videos is going to be a little bit different, but you'll still be able to listen to the podcast in its fullest, and ultimately that's what it's all about. So looking ahead to 2024, I'm very excited. I hope you guys are still following us, are excited as well. And of course, if you are new to DNF1, welcome along. It's great to have you along. We're going to be entering our 5th season as an F1 podcast. So I'm really looking forward to making this the best one yet. Hopefully, the racing on the track will be able to match up to that, because I'm sure a lot of you have had your thoughts on 2023. And I imagine a lot of you have been looking forward to 2024 as well. I certainly have. And we'll just have to wait and see if the action on the track matches up to what we hope it will be. So I think I've pretty much covered everything I needed to do in this update. As I said, I hope that you're all doing good, enjoying the holiday season, looking forward to 2024, and hopefully it's going to be a great year. But until then, guys, we'll be back soon for our first proper podcast of 2024. I mean, technically this one sort of counts because I know some podcasts are quite short. That being said, we're going to have our first proper podcast in 2024, and that's going to feature some suggestions and some questions, or some wishes, if you like, what you guys want to happen in 2024, what you're hoping for, and we'll be looking forward to reacting to the best of those on that episode. One other thing before I do forget, almost forgot actually, the forfeit. Now, some of you have asked me, when is this forfeit going to happen? It hasn't been recorded yet. If you have checked out our predictions reaction episode, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, head over to the YouTube channel or your favorite podcasting platform. I'll give you a few seconds now to avoid spoilers. So if you want to do that, head over there now. 3, 2, 1. Okay, spoiler alert. So we know, for those of you that are still with us that followed this, Courtney and Luke both tied last in the predictions. So they have to do the forfeit together. Now, they have different forfeits. Of course, I won't need to go into details with you guys. They will be doing those soon. We haven't agreed a time and a date where we can all get together to film that, but it will happen soon. So don't worry, we are definitely going to do that. We haven't forgotten about it. But of course, as I said, until next time, guys, thanks very much for your time and patience with us, and continued patronage if you have supported us all the way. Really grateful for that. But we will see you we'll see you in the next episode of the DNF1 F1 podcast. And until then, remember, as always, if you're not first, you're probably DNF1. Take care.